Hello. Welcome to our next chapter that we will be covering from this series. That is your in our audit in 100-page summary. So the next chapter that we are doing is your audit planning, strategy, and execution. So we have already done all our essays. You can check the playlist that I have uploaded. So all our essays are done. Now we are doing our audit planning, strategy, and execution. And another point that I have also done in these is I have made summarized ultimate summary so that it is only your heading, what is the key, and what all points are there in that, so that it is easier to learn at uh, for your exam, because of course your key points matter the most. So in just one maximum one page, your entire chapter will be covered. So while studying only, we will try to learn this also so that it is easier for you and you spend less time towards it. So audit planning is necessary to conduct an effective audit in an efficient and timely manner. Effective means it should be, your objective should be met. Whatever your objectives for the auditor, that should be met. And efficient means that with limited resources, that is with limited inputs, with minimum input, you get the maximum output. Okay. So our first is your advantages of planning in an audit of financial statement. What are your advantages of planning? So for planning, it is your CPT pad, that is your CPT exam. So for the CPT exam, you need a writing pad. So this is your advantages of planning, that is your CPT pad. Okay. So your CPT pad stands for easy coordination, proper organization and management of audit engagement. T is your timely resolution of potential problems. Then P is your proper selection of engagement team. A is attention to important areas. And D is your direction and supervision of engagement team. Okay, so we will take this over here also, so that we are done. Advantages of planning in an audit of financial statements. So first of all, C is your coordination. Then next, P is your proper organization. T is timely resolution of problems. P is proper selection of team. A is attention to important areas, and D is direction and supervision of team. Okay, so this key, all these keys that I have made, they are CA themed for this chapter. Every chapter I will change the theme. Some in some chapter the theme is beach. In some chapters it is Himachal. So over here it is CA. So all your keys will be related to CA only, so that it is easier for you to understand and you don't mix keys from different chapters. So over here, therefore, this is your CPT pad. That is advantages of planning in an audit of financial statements is CPT pad. Okay. Then your next point is factors affecting nature and extent of planning. That is, what are the factors that will affect as to how you will plan and to what extent will you plan. So this is your CPC, or how I have put it in the key is IPCC. That is, I is not there, but it is PCC. Okay. So P stands for past expertise and experience. Whatever you have, whatever experience you gain from the past, whatever expertise you gain from the past, that will of course obviously affect how much and what extent of planning will you do. Then next is your change in circumstances. If there are any changes in circumstances while doing the audit, of course that will also change our audit planning. And next is your complexity and size of the auditee. That is, more planning will be required if your auditee, that is the client, is large and complicated. Okay, so this is your IPCC. So factors affecting, this question is your factors affecting nature and extent of planning. So that is your IPCC. So P stands for past expertise and experience. C stands for complexity and size of the auditee. And C stands for change in circumstances. Okay. Then next, acceptance and continuance of client relationship and audit engagements. Auditors shall undertake the following activities at the beginning of the current audit engagement. So what this topic is about, before you accept or before you continue an existing client, what points should you consider? So first is, auditor shall undertake the following activities at the beginning of the current audit engagement. First is, you have to perform procedures which is required as per your SA 220. Now, which are these procedures? You have to check integrity of principal owners, KPM and your TCWG. That is your key managerial personnel and those charged with governance. You have to check their integrity. Then next is whether engagement team is competent to perform audit and has necessary capabilities and expertise. So whether my audit engagement team, are they competent enough? Do they have the abilities to do the audit, and whether they have the capabilities and expertise to do the same. Next is whether the firm can comply with relevant ethical requirements. Whichever ethical requirements are necessary, will my firm be able to comply to those or not? So these are all required under SA 220. Okay, so this was your SA 220. Now what is your next? Evaluate compliance with ethical requirements, including independence as required by SA 220. Now this is again the same point, but ICI module. This is strictly from ICI module. You can open any page and you will find it in the notes. So evaluate compliance with ethical requirements, including independence as required by SA 220. Okay, so this is your independence and SA 220. And next is your establishing an understanding of the terms of the engagement as required by SA 210. So you have to understand the terms of the engagement that is covered under SA 210. So how will you remember this? You have to remember this as 220, 220, 210. Okay. So I will tick this over here also. Acceptance and continuance of client relationship and audit engagement. What all do you have to check? You have to check 220, 220, 210, 220, 220 and 210. 220, 220 and 210. 220 is regarding integrity, competent and ethical. 220 again they said about ethical requirements, and 210 we said terms of the engagement. Clear? Okay. Now next part is contents of an audit plan. What are the content? What when we say audit plan, what constitutes an audit plan? So under audit plan over here, the key is RAP, FAP, and other. RAP, FAP, and other. RAP, FAP, and other. So RAP is your risk assessment procedure. That is the nature, timing, and extent of planned RAP. That is as per SA 315. Then next is your nature, time, and extent of planned further audit procedures. Okay, so this is your FAP. At assertion level, that is your SA 330. And other planned audit procedures that are required to be carried out. Got it? So what are contents? What are contents of an audit plan? RAP, FAP, and other. RAP, FAP, and other. 315, 330, and other. Clear? This is your contents of audit plan. So we are done with this also, that is 315, 330 and other. Great. What are factors for changes to planning decisions? Whatever planning decisions you had already taken, when it might happen that you will have to change these decisions. So first, the key is UCA. You will become a CA. Okay, so this is UCA. So first is result of unexpected events. Anything unexpected happening, of course, you will have to change your plan. Then C is changes in conditions. Okay, C for changes. And A is audit evidence obtained from audit procedure. So any changes that have happened in conditions, or any audit evidence that you obtain because of which you feel that, boss, I need to do some other changing. I need to do some changes in my planning. So because of the audit evidence that you obtained, you have to change the plan. Okay, so this is UCA, that is unexpected events, change in circumstances, and audit evidence obtained during from audit procedures. Clear? So we'll tick mark this also. So factors for changes to planning decisions, that is the UCA. Unexpected events, changes in conditions, and audit evidence from procedures. Great. Your next point is with regards to audit strategy. Now, audit strategy first is factors affecting audit strategy. What are the factors that affect audit strategy? So, factors affecting audit strategy will be NTE, RTPC. Okay. So, now how do you learn this? So, I've put the key on this page again. So, how do you learn this? Factors affecting audit strategy. Factors affecting audit strategy is nature, time, and extent of your RTP completed. Okay, so the RTP that I say is to the NTE of RTP completed. So this is how you will remember. NT is NT of resources, R for reporting objectives, T for team's efforts, P for preliminary work, and C for characteristic of audit. These are the factors that affect audit strategy. Okay, so let's do this again. So I'm doing this multiple times so that you are remembering it during while watching the video itself. So what did we do? Factors affecting audit strategies, NTE, RT, PC. So NT is of course first is your nature, timing and extent of resources. Then what did we study? We did R is your reporting objective. That is what is your reporting objective. That will also change what your audit strategy is. Then is T, team's efforts. What will be the team's efforts? P is any preliminary work. That is what work you do in the starting. And C is your characteristic of audit, because the characteristics of audit will of course change your strategy. Clear? So this is your audit strategy. That is a factors affecting audit strategy. Next is your benefits of audit strategy. Your benefits of audit strategy is QQMT, that, or in the key that I've put it as MTQ. So MT, if you know, is a popular class Mahesh tutorial. So your parents ask you, why do you want to go to Mahesh tutorial? So MTQQ. Okay. So this is your key Mahesh tutorial Q. Benefits of overall audit strategy. So benefits of overall audit strategy is management of resources, timing of deployment of resources, quantity of resources and qualitative resources. Okay, so we'll understand this above when we are doing. Please learn these points if you are doing this chapter properly. So benefits of audit strategy, what did we do? First we did as M. So M stands for management of resources. So what are the benefits of audit strategy? What are the advantages that I will get by making an audit strategy? Is I will be able to manage my resources properly. Then next is timing of deployment of resources. I will be able to determine that, boss, when do I want to deploy my resources, for how long do I have to deploy my resources, everything. If I make a proper audit strategy, these are the benefits that I will be getting. Okay. Then there is employment of qualitative resources, good quality resources, because I know what type of resources does my engagement need and what type I have to provide. And next is your allocation of quantity of resources. Since you have already properly strategized, you know that how many resources you will be requiring. Clear? So MTQQ, M stands for management of resources. T stands for timely allocation. Q stands for qualitative and Q stands for quantitative. Okay, so one is quality, one is quality. Great. Now next is your considerations in establishing the overall audit strategy. That is, what factors will you consider while setting the audit strategy. So the key over here is NTE CSR. Okay, so we'll see what our key means. So NTE CSR is your consideration in establishing the overall audit strategy. Okay, so nature, time and extent of revision completed, sir. Okay, so first what did we do over here? We did NT of RTP completed. Now we are doing NT of revision completed. Okay, so revision completed, sir. NTE, that is NT of resources. Now if you see your R over here, your R over here was reporting objective, correct? And if you see your R over here is again also reporting objective. Of course, there are more points, but this is how you remember. So when you make this key, or when you use my notes, so these keys will help you to identify that both same answer over at both the places. Then next is your uh, R. Then next is your C, that is characteristics of the engagement. And S is significant factors, preliminary engagement activities, and knowledge gained of other engagements. Okay, so let's understand what each point means. So consideration in establishing, first what did we do? We did NT, that is your nature, time and extent of resources. Selection of engagement team and assignment of work, and engagement budgeting. This is how it will, this is what factors it will affect. So that is a selection of engagement team and engagement budgeting. That was how much should what will be my budget for the engagement. This will help by nature, time and extent of resources. Then next is your characteristics of the engagement. Next is your characteristic of engagement. Just a second. So next is the characteristic of the engagement. That is what financial reporting framework is applicable, and any industry specific reporting requirements that are necessary. Okay. Then next is your S, that is significant factors, preliminary engagement activities, and knowledge gained on other engagements. So any other important factors or anything that you already know about the entity because of your preliminary engagement activities. This is your third point. That is, volume of transactions may determine reliance on internal controls. Your IC stands for internal controls. So the more number of transactions, you will have to determine whether I can trust my internal controls or not, because that will also affect your sample size. And fourth is your reporting objectives. So reporting objectives, timing of the audit and nature of communication. That is your entity's timetable for reporting. That was, when do I have to report? How do I have to report? What do I have to report? All of this will be covered. You have to consider while establishing the audit strategy. Okay. Now your next is auditor shall document. What all does the auditor have to document? So I'm thinking we'll do the keys in the end so that it will become a quick revision. And for those who do not want to watch the entire thing, they can just simply watch in the end what all points are there, how we have learned it, and you can move forward. So auditor shall document your overall audit strategy, the audit plan, and any changes made during the audit engagement. Any significant changes that you have made during the audit engagement, all of these shall be documented. So what does the auditor have to document? So SPC over here stands for Swapnil Patni classes. Okay, so SP, so that it is easier to remember, I have made this key. So first is your auditor shall document overall audit strategy, then second is plan. So first is document strategy, then plan, and third is changes. Strategy, plan, and changes. Strategy, plan, and changes. What does the auditor have to document? Strategy, plan, and changes. So significant changes made during the audit engagement and reason for changes. So he has to record key decisions, record nature, timing, and extent of your risk assessment procedures, that is your RAP. And third is record for reason for change in audit plans. You also have to give reason that, boss, why I have changed the audit plan. Okay, so now this was your audit strategy. Okay, so we have already done audit plan. Our first topic was planning, the blue part. Then green is your audit strategy. Everything in green was cut under audit strategy. Now everything in yellow is your audit program. So audit program is, it contains audit objectives for each area and should have sufficient detail to serve as a set of instructions to the assistants involved as a means to control the proper execution of work. So your audit program, if you go by the definition, it is more detailed than your audit planning and strategy, because it gives you a wholesome, it gives you a whole idea of a holistic view of the audit. So it has to be in detail. Okay. Now your next is factors affecting formulation of audit program. That is, what factors will affect my formulation of audit program. So first is your nature of business in which the organization is engaged. Of course, that will affect, because whichever business that will be, that in whichever industry they are, that will affect how you are doing the audit, what risk they have. So this is nature of business in which the organization is engaged. Then next is your overall plan. What is your plan? Third is your system of internal control and accounting procedures. Fourth is your size of the organization and structure of its management. That is, what is the size and structure. Okay. So remember, these keys we will be doing in the end so that it will serve as a quick revision. So that is size of the organization and structure of its management. Fifth is your information as regards to organization of the business, and sixth is accounting and management policies. So factors affecting formulation of audit program. First, you have to check for what nature is the business. That is the client that you're auditing. What is the nature of business? Second is, you have to determine what will be my plan. Third, you have to see what system, what internal controls do they have, what accounting procedures do they follow. Fourth, you have to check what is their size of the organization and what is the structure of its management. That is, how is the management divided in the company. Then fifth is information with regards to organization of the business. Okay, so you have to understand the entire organization of the business. And sixth is accounting and management policy. That is, what are the accounting policies, what are the management policies that this client follows, that this auditee follows. Clear? The next is your stages of audit program. So stages of audit program is, first is your broad outline of the audit program should be drawn up. First, of course, you will have to give up a broad outline. That is the basic that, boss, I want to cut these areas, and how I'll be doing this. This will be your broad outline. Then second is, after the internal and accounting procedures have been reviewed, the details should be filled up on a consideration of the deficiencies in the system of internal control. So once you have already checked the internal and accounting procedures and all of them have been reviewed, you have to check, you have to consider that boss, whatever deficiency that you've noticed in the internal control. So deficit in the system of internal control, they have to be considered. And third is your extent to which the special procedures, that is any first time or opening balance audit procedures that are required to be applied should be determined. You have to check that boss, what are the special procedures that I have to apply. So first is outline, second is any deficiencies in internal control, and third is your special procedures. Now a review of audit program at each subsequent engagement on account of. So each subsequent engagement means first you did the audit of this client, this year got over. Now when the next year you again audit this client, it is a separate engagement, correct? So you have to check that boss, do I have to make changes to my audit program? Has anything changed from previous year to this year? Do I have to can I ignore some things? Are these things not material, or are more things material? Do have any changes occurred? So that is review of audit program at each subsequent engagement on account of. So when do you have to review your audit program? So first is your experience gained during previous audit. If there was any experience that you came across, if something happened with you during the previous audit and you want to make it better this time, so any experience that you gained during the previous audit will of course change the audit program for the subsequent engagements. Then next is your changes taken place in the business. Any changes that have taken place in the business, if they've changed their accounting policies, if their internal controls have been changed, or any KMPs have been changed. So any system of internal control, accounting procedure, structure of management, scope of business, if your business has widened. So all of these will come in your change. And third is your evaluation of internal control made for the current year. Evaluation of internal control, that is how effective do you think the internal controls are. If you feel that internal controls are more effective now, more reliance can be placed, so of course you will have to perform less audit procedures, since you can rely on these internal controls. Okay, now your last part of the chapter is audit execution phases. What are my phases? So first is your execution and planning, second is your risk and control evaluation, third is testing, and fourth is reporting, that is ER. Okay, so execution, planning, risk and control evaluation. So how I want you to learn this is exam revision is total revision. ERTR. Okay, so we'll do that in the keys again. Don't worry about that. So that is your execution planning. Execution planning is what, how I will be executing this audit. So what are the manpower requirement, what is the audit team qualifications, how much time I will be taking, all of this will be covered in the first phase, that is your planning phase, execution planning. Now next is your risk and control evaluation. List the risk that must be reviewed in a segment. Capture for each risk the controls that exist, that whatever the risk that exists. So first you have to check that what risk do I have to review. This is your first part. Now second is, once you have identified that these risks I have to review, you have to check that for each risk, what is the control that exists, what control has the organization put in place so that these risks are mitigated. And next is the work steps required to test the effectiveness of the control. So first you identified what risk I have to check. Then second you check that boss, what control is there to mitigate this risk. And now third you are checking that how will I check the effectiveness of the control itself. Okay, so if the control is effective, that risk is already mitigated. And last is your reporting, that is review and assess the conclusions drawn from the audit evidence obtained as the basis for the expression of an opinion. We do an audit only to give an expression of an opinion with regards to your financial statements. Okay, so therefore you have to draw conclusions on based on all the audit evidence that you have obtained. So ERTR. Okay, so first was your execution planning, then R was your risk and control evaluation, T was your testing, and R again is your reporting. Okay, so this is your ERTR. And other important considerations while executing audit is adherence to your SA 600 series, that is 600, 610, 620. This is all you're using work of other auditor, expert, etc. etc. Then you have 540, 220 and 520. Okay, so these all essays have to be kept in mind. And with this, we are done with the chapter. We will be discussing keys and how to remember each point. So if you have made it this far in the video, I suggest you to stay, because this will help you learn. So I've also given you keys and I've also given you sentences. I'll just erase this so that it is easier to revise now. Great. So first is we did advantages of planning in an audit of financial statement. That is, what are the advantages I get? So advantages, if you remember, we did the key, that is your CPT pad, CPT PAD. So your CPT was on the right side and your pad was on the left side. So C is your coordination, P is proper organization and management, T is timely resolution of problems. Then again, P is proper selection of team, A is attention to important areas, and D is your direction and supervision of the team. This is your advantages of planning in an audit of financial statements. Then next is your factors affecting nature and extent of planning. Factors affecting nature and extent of planning, from CPT you have now come to IPCC, where I is silent. So it is only PCC. PCC is your past experience and expertise, complexity and size of the auditee, and changes in circumstances. Okay. Now third is your acceptance and continuance of client relationship and audit engagement. So what we did, 220, 220, 210. Now if you remember, 220 we did independence, we did ethical requirements. Then in 220 again we did ethical requirements. And then in 210 we did terms of the engagement. So 220, 220, 210. Next is your contents of an audit plan. Contents of an audit plan is RAP, FAP and other. That is your risk assessment procedure, your further audit procedure and your other audit procedures. Next is your factors for changes to planning decision. That is, what factors will change my planning decision. So it is a UCA. Only you can change what you want to do. Therefore, it is UCA. So U, if you remember, it was uncertain events. C was changes in circumstances. And A, what was the even I forgot. Correct. So it is audit evidence obtained from procedures. So unexpected events, changes in conditions, and audit evidence from procedures. Okay, now next is factors affecting audit strategy. That is, what are the factors that will affect audit strategy? So that is your NTE RTP completed. That is your NTE of RTP completed. NTE RTP C. Okay. So NTE of resources, reporting objectives, team efforts, preliminary work, and characteristic of audit. These are the factors that will affect your audit strategy. Next is your benefits of overall audit strategy. Benefits of overall audit strategy is your Mahesh tutorial Q, that is your MTQQ. So management of resources, timing of deployment of resources, quantity of resources, and qualitative resources. Coming to your next part, that is considerations in establishing the overall audit strategy. What factors do you have to consider while establishing the overall audit strategy? So that is your again NTE, that is revision completed, sir, RCS. Okay. So NT is again your nature of resources. Now if you remember, R we had studied, over there was also reporting objective. Over here is also reporting objectives. Then C is characteristics of the engagement, and C is significant factors, preliminary engagement activities, and knowledge gained on other engagements. Okay. Next part is auditor shall document. What should the auditor document? Remember, we made a flowchart of three things and we did the key SPC, that is strategy, plan, and any changes. Clear? So that is your Swapnil Patni classes. We have learned this. That is overall audit strategy, audit plan, and any changes made during the audit engagement. Next is your factors affecting formulation of audit program. What are the factors that will affect the creation of your audit program, the formulation of your audit program? So that we did NPIC SOP. So NPIC SOP is no problem. I choose some other professor. This is what we do in CA. We don't like the professor, we take another, like another professor's video. We don't like his videos, we take a third professor's video. Like you took your audit lectures from somebody and now you are watching my YouTube videos. So that is a no problem. I choose some other professor. That is N for nature of business, O for P for overall plan. Then IC is your one. So system of internal control and accounting procedures. S is your size of organization. O is your information as regards organization of the business, and last is your accounting and management policy. So no problem. I choose some other professor. Your N over here stands for nature of business. Your P stands for overall plan. Then we remember IC was one, that is system of internal control. Then S is your size of organization. O is your information as regards to organization of business, and P is your accounting and management policies. Then we did your stages of audit program. What are the stages of audit program? First, you make a outline. Then you do your internal procedures and you report on the deficiencies on controls that you noted. And last is your special procedure, that is outline of audit program, review internal and accounting procedure, and third is determine any special procedures to be applied. Coming to your last and second last part, that is review of audit program at each subsequent engagement on account of what. So when do we review? That is any experience changes or internal control. So any experience that you have gained during the previous audit, any changes that have taken place in business, any controls, any policies, any management, all of that, etc. And last is your evaluation of IC. If you feel the ICs are, if you feel the IC are more reliable now, you can reduce your audit procedures. And last is your audit execution phases. So how did we did? We did audit execution is your exam revision, total revision. So ER, TR. Then this is your 600 series. There is 520, 540 and 220. Execution planning, risk and control evaluation, testing, reporting and adherence to all of these essays. And with this, we are done with the chapter. I hope this chapter was easy and I'll see you in the next one. Like the video and I'll see you in the next one.